What if the biggest thing holding you back is not your ability? What if it is simply what someone else decided about you before you had a chance to prove them wrong? This is the Pygmalion Effect, and once you understand how it works, you will never look at your relationships, your workplace, or your own potential the same way again. The Pygmalion Effect is best understood as a circle. It starts with a belief. Someone, a teacher, a manager, a parent, a coach, forms a belief about what you are capable of. That belief shapes how they treat you. The way they treat you shapes what you start to believe about yourself. And what you believe about yourself shapes how you perform. And your performance goes right back and reinforces what they believed in the first place. Around and around. A loop that never stops. The terrifying part, most of the time, nobody involved even knows it is happening. Let's make this real. Let's say you are the coach of a basketball team. It is the first day of practice. Two new players walk in, Chris and Joe. Chris reminds you of a player you once admired. There is something about the way he carries himself. You cannot explain it, you just feel it. Joe reminds you of someone who always annoyed you back in school. Again, you cannot explain it, it's just a feeling. In that moment, without realizing it, you've already decided what to expect from each of them. Now, watch what your belief does to your behavior. When Chris walks onto the court, you light up. You push him to go harder, stay an extra hour, try the difficult shot again. When he makes a mistake, you break it down with him. You show him what went wrong and how to fix it. You invest in him because you already believe the investment will pay off. When Joe walks onto the court, you barely notice. You're glad when he scores, but you don't give him much feedback. You don't push him. When he makes a mistake, you feel a small flicker of frustration, and you move on. You're not trying to be unfair. You don't even realize you're being unfair. But Chris and Joe feel every single bit of it. Now, watch what your behavior does to their beliefs about themselves. Chris feels your belief in him like warmth. He starts to think, this coach sees something in me. Maybe it's real. He shows up early. He stays late. He starts to believe in his own success because someone he respects already does. Joe feels something different. He senses the distance, the short responses, the way you move on after his mistakes instead of stopping to help. He starts to think, maybe I'm just not good enough for this coach. Maybe I'm not good enough for this game. And now watch what their beliefs do to their performance. Chris gives everything in every session. He never misses practice. In games, he plays like every minute matters. His skills grow fast. You can see it clearly. Joe starts to hold back. He plays, but not with his whole heart. He misses a practice here and there. The effort drops. The growth slows. And now watch what their performance does to your original belief. You look at Chris and think, I knew it. I saw it from day one. He has something special. You look at Joe and think, I had a bad feeling and I was right. He just doesn't have what it takes. But here's the truth. You never actually gave Joe a chance to prove you wrong. This is not just a coaching story. Robert Rosenthal at Harvard University proved this in a laboratory. In his first study, he gave a group of students rats to train through a maze. He told half of them their rats were specially bred for intelligence. He told the other half their rats were below average. In reality, all the rats were exactly the same. But by the end of the experiment, the so-called smart rats were performing significantly better. The students who expected more had handled their rats differently, more gently, more patiently, more carefully, and the rats responded to that. If a belief about a rat can change how a rat runs a maze, what does a belief about a child do to a child? Rosenthal found out. He partnered with Lenore Jacobson, a school principal in San Francisco. At the start of the school year, they told elementary school teachers that certain students, randomly selected, completely average, had been identified as exceptional, as about to bloom. By the end of the year, those randomly selected students had significantly outperformed their peers on IQ tests. tests. Nothing about the students had changed. The only thing that changed was what their teachers believed about them. Rosenthal concluded, when we expect certain behaviors of others, we are likely to act in ways that make those expected behaviors more likely to occur. The expectation creates the reality. Now, here's the question that actually matters. If other people's beliefs about us shape us this powerfully, what do we do about it? The first step is simply knowing this is happening. Most people live their entire lives inside someone else's expectations without ever questioning where those expectations came from. A teacher decided something about you when you were 8 years old. A parent made a judgment when you were 12. A manager formed an opinion in your first week on the job, and you've been quietly performing to those expectations ever since. The second step is asking, whose belief is this really? Is it based on genuine evidence, or is it based on who you reminded someone of, on a feeling they had on a bad day? Because the Pygmalion effect works in both directions. The same loop that pulls people down can lift them up. Every person in your life who ever genuinely believed in you, who pushed you harder, gave you better feedback, waited longer for your answer, they were running this loop in your favor, and you grew because of it. The question is not only who has been shaping you, the question is, who are you shaping right now, and what do you actually believe about them?